guys, it's Eleanor. For the past few years, there's been a rumor going around that we're getting apartments. During this time, some have been waiting anxiously for the release of apartments, while others are dismissing this rumor and claiming that it's unlikely to ever happen. I'm here to dig into both possibilities and to see if I can figure out, once and for all, what the furniture is, or was, actually for. I think a nice place to start off would be with the furniture store. This is one of the main clues in this whole apartment debate, and for good reason. The team has made this store. They put furniture on display with large, unavoidable signs that say "Opening Soon." They know we tend to conspire on future updates, so I'm sure they knew what they were doing when designing this store. But okay, let's say that the store is only decorative, and that it's never going to be accessible to us. It's possible, but in that case, isn't it weird how it says "Opening Soon"? If it was only decorative, couldn't it just look like a regular open store? I don't see any need to keep an inaccessible store closed like that. And why would they even spend all that time and resourcing designing a store that's never gonna open? Have you noticed how this is the only inaccessible store that has clear windows and items on display? This goes for all of York City. Inaccessible stores always have foggy windows that we can see through, all except for this one. Do you really think that's a coincidence? Another main clue in this debate, and the one that personally got me thinking about this, is the furniture that we were giving as quest rewards. Just after the release of York City, we got these items from 3 separate quests: a couch, a bucket of paint, and a barrel. All 3 are simply labeled as piece of furniture. That's pretty weird on its own, and if that doesn't make you consider the possibility of apartments, the description sure will. It says, "for use in the future." Personally, I was sold at this point. Why give us quest rewards that we can never use in any way? Honestly, they wouldn't. We are going to get to use this in the future. And the fact that we now have furniture as items kind of confirms that we will be able to buy them as well. You know, in a store. So yeah, the furniture store is definitely legit, and it is there for us to shop in at some point. We are getting furniture. So, does this mean that apartments are coming? Well, not necessarily, but it sure does hint towards it. If we're gonna dig in deeper, we're gonna search for a reason for them to add apartments. The most logical thing I can think of is that according to the story, our character was just gonna stay in Jorvik over the summer. But we have now reached a point where summer is ending and our character is not going anywhere. That means that we might be in need of a more permanent place, which could be an apartment. I also want to point out how in recent quests we got to see Linda's home, which is beautifully detailed compared to literally all other homes in the game. Come to think of it, the houses have become gradually more detailed over time, with more furniture and stuff. The game code supposedly contains codes for Lisa's room as well, so I'm going to assume that we eventually will see all the Soul Riders' homes. I find it kinda interesting how the team suddenly has picked an interest in interior design. Could it be that they're exploring the possibility for a future player home? Maybe. But the thing is, at this point, I pretty much ran out of clues. After we received those 3 pieces of furniture, there was nothing more. The store never changed either. I find that pretty strange if they're really working on this. There's always hints or leaks of some sort, even if they're vague. It has been over 3 years since this started, and yet there's been nothing to add to this debate. Not a word has been said. How is that possible? So while researching this, I started thinking, what if the Star Stable team did have apartments planned, but they scrapped it? It would definitely explain why it's been quiet for years. They must have stopped working on it, right? Apartments were never really that requested before these clues showed up, and it has been argued that it wouldn't add a lot to the game anyway, because it's a horse game and you're out and about all day. I mean, I can't really argue with that either. I'm barely even in my stable, so I'm not sure if I would ever use an apartment at all. Come to think of it, why exactly would they add them in the first place? Let's look at it this way. If we did have apartments, what kind of impact would they have on the game? At the end of the day, wouldn't it cause more harm than good for the team? For example, if you have your own place, wouldn't you be able to spend the night there for free instead of paying star coins to spend the night elsewhere? In that case, you could play through the whole game in a day if you wanted to, without any costs. That is absolutely not something the Star Stable team would want. They want to limit the playtime for kids. And where will the apartment be placed? Surely it has to be connected to our home stable in one way or another, which means that they need one apartment for every single stable in the game. That sounds like a lot of work and resources for such a small amount of gameplay. This really makes me understand those who say that apartments will never happen. It sounds like such a strange thing for them to add, and I have no idea how the Star Stable team would plan to benefit from it. So, if apartments would happen, what about the furniture in the store? If the team did scrap the whole thing, wouldn't they remove these things from the game? Because we still have them and we still expect for them to be used in the future. And if apartments were never part of the plan, the question still remains the same. What is the point of the furniture? As it turns out, the answer has been right in front of our eyes all along. We've just never really made the connection. There has been clues. We're not getting an apartment or a house. What we're getting is the customizable stable. There have been people saying that a stable would make a nice home for a character, but I never knew the likelihood of that. I was stupid enough to dismiss this option because who lives in their stable? But actually, this is much more likely than apartments or houses combined, because the stable actually has an impact on the game. I mean, it's in the game title, Star Stable. As soon as I made this realization, the evidence suddenly kept piling up. Did you ever realize that My Stable and Jorvik City were released around the same time? The two releases were literally 1 week apart. 7 days exactly, like a package deal. And you know what? It might have been, because even though there has been no more furniture, no changes to the store, and no game codes about a possible home, the stable has been changed and improved several times, almost continuously. They started decorating the stables during certain events, gave us an interactable washing station, and the ability to invite friends over. They've kept on improving the functionality and accessibility of the stable, and made it a super attractive place in the game. And when it comes to furniture, we have actually, not too long ago, gotten a closet in our main room, as well as a brand new makeup table. Did you ever stop and wonder where this new furniture was coming from? These are subtle changes that most of us have barely given a second thought, but if we compare the first version of My Stable with today's, we can see that it has become much more interactable and homey, and the team does frequently play around with different decorations and designs. It could very well be their intention to make the stable a permanent livable home for us to customize. Like a lot of people have pointed out, we have 3 rooms in our stables that can be used for this purpose. If we rule out houses and apartments, then the stable is by far the most natural place to have furniture. When the team is putting new things in there and treating it like our special place, I imagine we will be able to do just the same thing. Why wouldn't we? Customizable stables have become highly requested at this point, and I absolutely do see it coming to the game, especially now after doing the research and seeing the evidence for myself. I can't quite tell if this was their intention all along, but I'm going to conclude that the furniture in-game is in fact meant for customizable stables. What is a different question though is when this feature is going to be released. And unfortunately, I don't think I have enough evidence to answer that one, but I am hoping that it won't be too long. After all, we have the items, we just don't have the ability to use them yet. So, what do you guys think? Do you have any other thoughts on this whole furniture thing? In that case, I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. As usual, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, I'll see you around. Bye!